Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is Dave Keller. I'm the Chief Market Strategist here at StockCharts.com, joined by Grayson Roze, who's the Vice President of Operations here at StockCharts.com. Also happens to be a very knowledgeable trader and investor. Grayson, thank you for agreeing to let me pick your brain just a touch. I appreciate it. I would not say that you were overwhelmingly in support of this idea, but I appreciate you being game for it.
No, it's always fun to come and do this kind of stuff. It's it's definitely an opportunity for me to put on a very different hat from the StockCharts pitch and everything like that, and talk to you guys not as someone who's touching the product, but someone who's using the product. So it's fun.
Well, I tell you what, and when I was first learning technical analysis, so this was like 2000, 2001, 2002, I benefited a great deal from having the opportunity to chat with really knowledgeable traders, investors, guys that have been using charts for years. And it made such a difference in just sort of learning from mentors, right? So what I love about StockCharts TV and why I'm happy to be on and part of it is because we're giving a lot of viewers this opportunity that you wouldn't have otherwise. So thanks for agreeing to do it. What I wanted to do is just talk a little bit about your investment process, talk a little bit how you approach things from a charting technical perspective, how you think of it, and just see what sort of ideas we can uncover a little bit. How about this? Can you just touch on how would you describe your routine, right? And when I'm talking with people that are just learning to invest, I talk a lot about routines, right? Getting in some sort of disciplined way of reviewing things that are of interest to you, right? Things that are important, because otherwise it's just kind of a shotgun approach. It's all over the place. So can you break down your routine a little bit? How do you approach things from a technical perspective? How do you go about it every day?
Definitely. So, I like to stand up at seminars and things like that and create some drama in the room by saying investing is not difficult. What is difficult is maintaining a set of routines and having the discipline that you need to follow those routines day in and day out, week in and week out, month in and month out.
Yep.
That to me is what makes investing really difficult. There are so many tools out there, so much educational content. You got great guys like you on StockCharts TV every day sharing their thoughts on the market. There's so much content and instructional things and helpful tools out there to make you a better investor. What there is not out there is something that keeps you disciplined and focused on the markets and executing your routine. So to me, that really is the secret to success. I am a big fan of weekly routines. I have a set of daily routines that I run through as well, but it's mostly just kind of watching things. I've got some scans that I run every day. I run a new 52-week high scan every day. Right at the close, just because it's great to keep a running list of what's making new highs, and I love to sweep that. But basically at the close, I start looking at what the markets did, what the sectors did. I've actually got a little bit of a spreadsheet that I keep to sort of rank the sectors, which is fun. And then I just run through the stuff that I own in different portfolios, and that's really it on a daily basis. I've actually gotten away over time, partially because I work here and I'm busy. I got stuff going on. I'm human. I've actually gotten away from a lot of the sort of active analysis during the day and watching the intraday charts and things like that. And I've moved a lot more to weekly routines. So for me, I've got this very clear set of weekly routines that I run through every Sunday. It's a religion. I got to do that on Sunday or I've totally failed for the week. And I actually sort of track this, use this app called Streaks to sort of track how many times in a row I've done my portfolio review to keep me honest and everything. It's fun. But I actually had that up here. Let's see if I can bring it up. This is basically it. I mean, this is my set of weekly routines that I run through every Sunday. I use an app called Workflow. I showed Dave this for the show, and he thought it was really cool. It literally allows me to make a checklist, and I can check these things off. You can see I'm kind of halfway through it. I've done the important stuff, and then I've got to go in and do the fun stuff of finding new stocks and seeing what's making new highs and things like that. But that's it for me. It takes a couple hours on a Sunday morning. It's great to wake up, have a cup of coffee, and those routines are basically run through the market from the top level down, from the highest level down through the sectors, down through the industry groups. Review the stuff that I own, go through my watch lists, run a couple scans, that kind of thing. But it's really market down into my portfolios. Review that every week religiously. And one thing that's important for me too is that I'm really looking at the same charts every week. So I've got this set of about 11 charts that I use to kind of gauge the market. And it doesn't cover every single corner of the market, But what it does do is I've got 11 charts that I'm looking at every single week, and every single sort of change that the market makes, most of them are covered in that 11 to some degree. And by watching the same charts every week, I can over many years, I've been doing this for a long time. I really know the moves that those charts make kind of intimately. So the fact that it's the same set of charts every single week is what really makes it powerful for me. But it's come down to a lot of weekly routines. It's this kind of dedicated Sunday portfolio review.
Right.
That's really important.
There is so much fun to unpack in what you just said. I hope everyone listened to that, because that was really, really cool. I mean, there are a lot of really good points in there. The last point you made, which was looking at the same charts every week, that is such a great point. And I know from my previous role managing professional analysts, when I first started to get to know their routines, every single, and these are people that are successful, for years, have just have developed these great routines. They all had a stack of charts, some of them on the screen, some of them just paper that they would flip through, but the same way, the same seat, the same thing, and they would do it. And they knew those charts intimately. I mean, they knew exactly what was coming. If you asked them, they knew it. And it was just because of that routine. And if you got out of that routine, you all of a sudden were just one level disconnected from what was going on. So that's a really cool one. There's so many other things to unpack there, but the one that strikes me is just using a checklist like that. I use an app called Asana, which is kind of a similar thing. It's more of like a task management thing, but boy, it's the same thing. It's like every week I know on Monday, these are the things I'm going to hit. But the best thing I feel like that you mentioned, all of those things are meaningful. The fact that you don't look at things as much during the day, it's almost a blessing that you have a day job because you're not tempted
It sort of forces
to pay attention, right? I mean, can you talk a little bit more about that? I mean, the value of not staring at things tick by tick and sort of trying to digest the intraday action versus having more of a regular time when you come back and just check on where things are at, right?
Yeah, I mean, markets move in a healthy mix of rallies and reactions over time. Over a long-term weekly chart, let's say, it's supposed to move in a healthy mix of up and down. And stocks are the same thing. They're supposed to move in a healthy mix of up and down. They're not supposed to go up every single day, not supposed to go down every single day. And so by sort of sucking yourself back one level from the day stuff to a weekly view, not necessarily looking at like weekly bars or weekly candlesticks or anything, you can still look at the daily charts, but to sort of suck yourself back and say, I'm not going to be as sort of overly focused on what's happening today relative to yesterday. For me and for the time frame that I trade and invest over, that's incredibly powerful because otherwise you start getting sucked down into this. Oh my God, it's down 2 days in a row. I'm getting really worried. I got to sell it, and then you make a mistake. And it's all time frame dependent too. I mean, I'm speaking as someone who's trading primarily 6 to 12 month positions. I'm not getting in and out of stuff in a week, so that's important. I hope everyone hears that. I'm giving you one perspective with one time frame and one sort of risk profile and everything like that. It's very specific to me. But I think that concept applies to a lot of people. And
I think the maybe the key takeaway is make sure that your routine is in line with how you're actually trying to approach things, right? And a lot of times you find a disconnect. People trying to think they're doing one things with their investments, but their routines don't speak to that, don't play very nicely with that, and that's going to be a mess. This was awesome. I wish we had like 3 hours to keep going through all this, but I promised you I would ask you, and I wanted to share with everyone. I love to ask guests what their one chart is. So if you had one chart that I asked you, besides just the S&P 500, what's one chart that you would look at right now to get a read on what's going on? Very quickly, what would it be and why?
Good question. You actually sort of covered it earlier, and it's going to take me too long to actually go in and pull it up in my account, but it's a breadth chart.
Okay.
To me, breadth is a very, very beautiful thing, and you did an incredible summary of kind of why breadth matters. But I like to think of the markets as a party, right? And Dave, you and I are cool guys, but if the party is just us, it's just us two sitting around the table, it's probably not going to be the most fun party. If we got all our friends and our family and tons of people participating in that party, it's a big event. We got everyone there having a good time.
Right. That
party is going to be a lot more fun.
Right.
So if we think of the markets as a party, and we think of kind of breadth as the participation in that party, the stronger the breadth numbers are that I'm seeing in the charts, the happier I'm going to be about that market. Because the more confident I am that the market is actually going to be a good time.
Right.
So I have a breadth chart that's really important to me. It's actually an NYSE chart, and I kind of look at breadth with a 10-day moving average.
Got it. Okay.
Charted as an area chart, actually, which is kind of an interesting way to see it. But At some point I'll come back on here and I'll show you that breadth chart, but that would be my one chart, I think.
Beautiful. Grayson Roze, thanks so much for coming on today. Really appreciate it. This was fun to just pick your brain in terms of how you approach things, but also earlier giving us a preview on StockCharts TV, on StockCharts.com. So many cool things happening here. So
yeah,
thanks
be
so
sure
much.
to tune in a week from today. Everything kicks off a week from today. It's going to be, I think, a big week here and a lot of exciting things to come. So looking forward to it.
Beautiful. Grayson Roze, everyone. Thanks again for coming on.